The top story tonight, drones may soon be flying over Austin crime scene.
Yeah, officers spent the day in College Station learning how to use the technology. Fox 7's Noel Newton was there and brings us this exclusive story.
At first glance, it looks like a child's toy. You're actually looking at an $80,000 military drone. There are 250 of these models being used in Afghanistan. Manufacturers of the unmanned aerial vehicles are now marketing them to law enforcement.
When you want to turn, it's just the whole bird, yeah.
Members of APD's technology unit traveled to A&M to learn how to use them.
Let's engage.
The UAVs feed live video, which is accessible to any mobile device with internet access.
Already I can see how this would be incredibly beneficial.
Officers want to begin deploying them at crime scenes.
Mostly officer safety. For instance, if you were out on a scene and you had chased a person to a building or somewhere else, you could get an aerial view of that. The thing is, when you have somebody hiding, they always have the drop on you because they know when you're coming and you don't know where they're at.
Currently, officers call in the air unit for aerial searches with the department helicopter. If the pilots aren't on duty, it can take them hours to get into work and take off.
In most cases, the helicopter has to launch, so you're waiting at least 30-40 minutes to get a helicopter on scene.
And by that time, where's your suspect?
They're gone.
Deploying a UAV takes minutes.
It's just a matter of putting the antenna on the roof of the car and attaching the rotors and hitting the start button.
This is all being done in what's called Disaster City. Behind me is a train derailment, and then back behind that is a building collapse. This is where first responders can test new technology in a realistic environment. The Federal Aviation Administration has given those associated with the university's robotics program, CRAZER, permission to fly drones here. According to a recent study by the UK Daily Mail, Texas A&M is one of 63 launch sites in the U.S. APD will apply to fly UAVs this September when the FAA lists certain restrictions, making it easier for law enforcement to get authorization. A vendor wants Austin to be a year-long test site beginning in January 2013 at a cost of $1. That may raise some privacy concerns, which officers are prepared to address.
These are a reactive robot. They're not proactive. They're designed for a very short range, short flight time.
Officers expect the FAA to limit the flights to a height of 200 feet, with the restriction of always keeping the aircraft within view. And with a battery life of about 30 minutes, flying it around the city would be impossible.
I can, promise you that the Austin Police Department is not in the business of spying on people. Don't be afraid of technology. Technology is your friend. Don't be afraid of technology. Technology is your friend. In the business of spying on people. Don't be afraid of technology. Technology is your friend.
Sky over Denver is getting a lot of attention this week. In a moment, details on why certain aircraft are going to have a lot of people looking up tomorrow. First, though, to a mystery. The search for clues about a mystery object over Denver that nearly caused a mid-air collision. New tonight, 9 Wants to Know's Will Ripley has been looking into this since we got a news tip this afternoon. So, Will, what have you learned?
Mark, we learned the FAA is launching an investigation tonight, and here's why. Take a look at this. This is live radar on FlightAware.com. You can see each of these planes which signify private and commercial air traffic around the Denver area. Now, as far as we know, the mystery object we're talking about did not show up on this radar yesterday, and investigators believe it could pose a serious safety hazard. A close call in the skies over Denver.
Remote-controlled aircraft or what? Something just went by the other way.
A pilot called air traffic control when something flew past his plane.
About 20 to 30 seconds ago, and it was like a large remote-controlled aircraft.
This 9 Wants to Know animation based on radio transmission shows the corporate jet was 8,000 feet over Cherry Creek when the mystery object came close enough to make any pilot nervous.
That's an issue, because now we have something in controlled airspace that poses a danger.
Hello, Mr. Whalen. Hello. I'm Dr. Elizabeth Shaw. If that name sounds familiar to you, it's because I've been calling your office every day for the last month. I think you people were hoping I'd give up. I'm not good at giving up. I'm an archaeologist. I have doctorates in paleontology, archaeology, human ethology, and memetics. This is not who I am. It's simply what I know. I make the distinction, sir, because there's a difference in what a scientist knows and what they believe. That difference is proof. Do you feel that all the science in the world will never give us the answers we really want? Where we came from? Whether or not we are truly alone? I believe there's a place where every one of those questions could be answered. I believe I know where that place is. I need you to get me there. If you don't respond, sir, I completely understand. I'll be sending this transmission again tomorrow. Thank you.
Hello everyone, welcome back to GGN. This is part 3, the final part for today. My website is ggnonline.com and DDARCO 2012, 2013 on my YouTube channels. Alright, so talking about eyes, turn my brown eyes blue. New surgery can change eye color. Do you have brown eyes that you would like to have blue permanently? Cosmetic surgery is raising eyebrows in San Antonio these days. When Mother Nature doesn't give you what you want, you can buy it, dye it, or implant it. So it says, but you can go under the knife to change your brown eyes to blue. Dr. Greg Homer in La Guana, California says, sure you can. Says the procedure takes less than 20 seconds. So make it real fast, kind of like when you get sterilized. Then we have light-powered bionic eye invented to help restore sight. Says, remember this, retinal implant or bionic eye, which is powered by light, has been invented by scientists at Stanford University. And it's kind of similar to this, which is paralyzed patients move robotic arm with thoughts. A new technology involving a chip planted in the brain successfully helped 2 paralyzed people control a robot arm with their thought. And just a quick side note on the drones, besides the story Israel unveils, new butterfly-shaped insect drone is what? Is this video, this mysterious object, well, what was it? It was probably a drone. It was probably a drone. The guy said it was a remotely controlled full-size aircraft, and the FAA just cleared them, so just wait until a year when these things are all flying around, crashing into other people. Then you got the chemtrail sprayers, the aerosol weather modification planes that are, I think, they're drones, and they're flying at a certain altitude, and you can't really fly at that altitude. So you'll have all these little prop planes and different planes avoiding having to fly at a different ceiling. So, I mean, these drones and these sprayers are just taking over the airspace. So, but, okay, so moving on here, we have Metropolitan Police, or Met Police, uses quick mobile data extraction system against suspects. Police will have immediate access to data on handset. So the police have rolled out a new mobile device extraction system to allow officers to extract data within minutes from suspects' phones while they are in custody. So just like the police saying, you know, this is great, you know, because with the helicopter it takes, you know, longer and it's more fuel. The deployment is expected to substantially reduce the costs associated with traditional outsourced methods of processing evidence, so which can lead to months of delay. So it's about convenience, but it's also about you as a taxpayer funding your enslavement, getting the best bang for your buck. It says these mobile phones, which are basically tracking devices that you pay for, are increasingly being used in all levels of criminal activity, mostly what? Low-level criminal cases. And it says here, when a suspect is arrested and found with a mobile phone that we suspect may be used or may have been used in a crime, traditionally we submit it to our digital forensic laboratory for analysis, and that's of course to get what? To get your digital DNA. Moving on here, we have how FBI entrapment is inventing terrorists and letting bad guys off the hook. Now, I saw Rolling Stone, I'm like, whoa, okay, Rolling Stone, wow. They're talking about how the FBI is entrapping themselves, creating the false terrorist threat, but then they said, oh, letting the bad guys off the hook. Well, the bad guys were never really caught. That's the FBI and the federal government. They're never actually caught doing anything like entrapping people into sting operations. Again, just like the NATO summit with the police, they want it to be violent so that they can legitimize their purpose of being there, right? So, and then so they get all the funding, and you know they like the toys. I've even heard cops say that they like their toys, and they'll go on board and say, oh, terrorism, say the secret word, the password, and then you get all the gadgets and toys, like down in Austin, Texas. DEA wants to scan. Oh, and let's not forget, as far as it's not going to be used to spy on you, but it will surveil you, and it will, like the Air Force said, in a recent document, they will hold information that is that's caught in footage of surveillance for up to 90 days or 6 months or something like that, even if you are not even a suspect. You're just in the... DEA wants to scan all license plates on Utah's drug corridor. They're probably already doing it, but hey, devices would monitor I-15 in southwest Utah, but legislators worry about privacy. They're worried about privacy. Well, don't worry about it. I wouldn't worry about it because you don't really have it. So, screen spy keeps watch on school students' home laptop activity. So, it says here, school children using government-supplied laptops, computers are being monitored in their own homes by software that takes snapshots of their screen activity. So, it's not just your screen activity. They'll take pictures of you. And that's why I told my mom as a teacher, she's on her last year here, and she's got a little laptop in her home, and she's got it covered up with tape now, and I try to recommend that to people. Don't be naive about that stuff. Attorney, school laptop cam took thousands of photos. This is from April 2010, so this is just proof that this happened in Philadelphia when districts snapped secret webcam pictures of high school students when he was partially undressed and sleeping in his bed. And that's right, the only reason they got caught was because, well, they arrested him for eating Mike and Ike's, saying he was having drugs. It says, report NASA training astronauts for asteroid missions, so they're serious about this. Probably one of the things that may happen in this whole stage alien invasion thing with using holograph technology and that, and shooting out asteroids and our alien saviors coming to help us, and in doing so and fending off this attack, it's going to say, well, we need to put a lot of money into space and space infrastructure, and then we'll be able to start mining. And then you have this Men in Black moment. Will Smith and son Jaden get real with President Obama. Well, what did he ask him? Excuse me, Mr. President. I was like, hey, Barack, man. And Barack said, don't tell me. And then perfect for him, and this is why he's the president. And he stopped and looked at Jaden and said, the aliens, right? So the president went on to say, I can neither confirm nor deny the existence of extraterrestrials, but I can tell you that if there had been a top secret meeting, and if there would have had, this is just really weird, crappy writing, to have been in a discussion about it, it would have taken place in this room, the same room that they took out bin Laden, which probably didn't even really happen. So just talking about the aliens, right? In Brazil, the poor can get plastic surgery for free now. It says 220 clinics across the country that treat poor citizens to free cosmetic surgery on the philosophy that beauty is a right, says the AP. And a good point that was made recently was what? Was that they're basically going to be testing on these people because, a lot of those places, there's a lot of impoverished people they're not going to get a lot of attention when something goes wrong. So that's basically what it is. Experimenting. Tyra Banks at 17 and age 4, I would have been considered too heavy to model now. And this, of course, is where they're pushing it towards the, quote, thinspiration like Pippa. So we have here sex change surgery now a legal right in Argentina. So it says here it was focused on President Barack Obama's endorsement of same-sex marriage. Lawmakers in Argentina, where gay marriage has been legal since 2010, voted unanimously to make sex change surgery a legal right. So cosmetic surgery and sex changes are a legal right. So I don't know if you remember this from March 26, 2012. John Stamos kisses man at the GLAAD Awards. It was a three-way kiss-off to raise money for lesbian, gay, bisexual, transsexual. And it was funny because he actually, when everybody was done, you could see on his face no one was really paying attention or too much, so he did it again and kissed them again, and then everybody's like, oh. And that's why a lot of actors, unfortunately, are good at programming and brainwashing, creating this culture because they want attention. So moving on here, we have what? Comedian author Alan Wentworth and Law & Order SVU star heated things up at the Joyful Revolution Gala in New York City Wednesday night when they shared a smooch on the red carpet. So the New World religion is part of it, is free love and all that stuff. Manny Pacquiao banned from Hollywood Mall because of a quote that he'd never said. I only gave out my opinion that same-sex marriage is against the law of God. I'm not against gay people. And what did the mall say? This is not a place for intolerance. And a British citizen was arrested in Thailand after being found with 6 roasted human fetuses. This is GGN and I'm Darko. Thank you. God bless.